one and all to the future of news. Bitcoin is here now when the dollar is through. Start stacking those sats and make it habitual. We all deserve to be sovereign individuals. Time to hear from Sean and get our fix of the day. Get on the standard now because
this is the way.
We were meant for this moment since the day we were born. Now sit back and enjoy. It's good day, Bitcoin.
Welcome to G'day Bitcoin. I am Sean. We have a lot to cover today. Saylor announced a $42 billion capital plan to buy copious amounts of Bitcoin 16 years ago to the day Satoshi released the white paper, and Trump is set to drop capital gains. Wall Street, they bought 11,826 Bitcoin yesterday, which is about $870 million worth of the coin. Now we have Lawrence Lepard. He's put out a warning, if we read between the lines, that the economy is on the edge of collapse. Janet Yellen said that fraud within the banking system has become a huge problem. Then Bhutan, they could be set to sell 1,000 Bitcoin, which may prevent the number going up in the short term. However, we have Max Kaiser claiming 100K, then 200K is coming in short order. You're watching the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. We'll get through it in about 25 minutes, and then hang around for a bit of a banter, diving straight into the breaking news with Michael Saylor's 2021 vision. Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, they announced a $42 billion capital plan, including $21 billion ATM equity offering and a target of raising $21 billion in fixed income securities. Join us at 5 p.m. He has gone into it. We've got a bit of an article to dive into shortly, but Michael Saylor retweeting a quote by the real Donald Trump. They have them paying tax on crypto, and I don't think that's right. Bitcoin is money, and you have to pay capital gains tax if you use it to buy coffee. I was talking with a friend, and he said it really shouldn't be taxed, and I agree. If Trump gets in, it is potential that capital gains tax on Bitcoin does go away. We are going to dive into what's happening over in Florida as well. It could be way larger than El Salvador. And this is Trump's little photo here. Orange man, number go up. I was talking with a friend. He said, I really shouldn't be taxed. And I agree. Let's get into it. So David Bailey, basically in regards to Saylor's 2021 billion vision, it's like Saylor buying $40 million of Bitcoin every day for the next 3 years, up forever. As Saylor says, it is going up forever. Laura, Joe Burnett chiming in. My thoughts on MicroStrategy. Is this priced in? He was talking about 25 ATM the other day. It was 21 and 21. What happens if MicroStrategy issues 25 billion ATM equity offering and attempts to buy 350,000 Bitcoin, assuming the share price and Bitcoin price remains the same? The NAV multiple would compress back to 1.8, but in reality, a $25 billion market buy, it would squeeze the price of Bitcoin significantly higher. Obviously squeezing MicroStrategy much higher too. Interesting times ahead. Excited to see what Saylor does next. We're going to dive into the full article. But first, US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that fraud in the banking system is becoming a huge problem. I think it's absolutely fascinating that these people like Janet Yellen are becoming honest for a change. It's absolutely absurd. Maybe the world's healing. Now, check this out. Calendar alert, timechain.com. On this day, 2008, 16 years ago, Satoshi Nakamoto published the Bitcoin white paper. Yes, I know, I'm here in Australia, down under we are, one day ahead. Absolutely insane. This guy, you know, even though I didn't get it straight away, changed my life. 9 simple pages. It's well worth taking a read. Let's have a look at the white paper here. If you haven't read it, I strongly urge everyone go on to Time Chain Calendar and check it out. Or just Google the Bitcoin white paper. So we are sitting at 72,176, block height 868,151, still sitting under 1,400 sats per USD. We are at 1,386, market cap still not sitting healthy at 1.43 trillion. Last block over an hour ago. It's a little bit crazy. Let me just hit refresh on that and see if that is correct on the time chain calendar. We want to be aligned with truth, with facts. Last block, yeah, 2 minutes 57. There you go. Priority, the fees have gone up. You know, UTXO management's been good for the last 2 days. Still good at the minute, but this number is going to continue to keep going up over time. Worth sorting out your UTXOs. Where else are we at? Average block time, 9 minutes, 11 seconds. Hash rate, it is up a little bit in the last 24 hours. 177 out of 144 blocks in the last 24 hours. Hash rate is going up. We will get a difficulty adjustment to the upside when that comes about. A reminder, if you haven't already, read the white paper. Now, diving into Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy plans to raise $42 billion to buy more Bitcoin over the next 3 years. Just want to say, if you are tuning in live or watching the replay, if you can do us a massive favor, just smash that like button. It really helps push the message out there, especially for everyone watching live. And let us know where you're tuning in from this grand and glorious day. Woke up this morning, ocean's dead flat, but there's just this big smoke screen. I don't know if it's intentional. They're doing a bit of backburning, or someone's yard's gone up in flames, but the whole town, the whole ocean's just covered in smoke. Anyway, back to the signal. Over the next 3 years, $42 billion raise. The company reported its third quarter earnings results after the close of trading Wednesday afternoon. Self-described Bitcoin development company MicroStrategy. They did not add to their Bitcoin holdings since mid-September, but the firm did announce an audacious plan to raise $42 billion of capital over the next 3 years in order to purchase more of the world's largest crypto. So this was led by Executive Chairman Michael Saylor. The company's so-called 2021 plan. Michael Saylor is seen with 2021 vision, calls for Bitcoin, calls for $21 billion of equity raised and $21 billion of debt offerings over the next 3 years. Truly, it's going up forever, and maybe just due to Michael Saylor himself, one single entity through MicroStrategy is making Bitcoin number go up. As a Bitcoin treasury company, we plan to use additional capital to buy more Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset in a manner that will allow us to achieve higher Bitcoin yield, said Fong Li, President and CEO, in the third quarter earnings press release. There was a little bit of a video I found where they're making the announcement, but you could barely hear him, so I won't put everyone through that pain. It was a real cool video, but we'll see if we can get some better audio out on that. Anyway, MicroStrategy's most recent previous disclosure was in mid-September when it announced they purchased 7,420 Bitcoin for $458.2 million. It got 42 billion coming into place. That brought its holdings to the point of 252,220 Bitcoins acquired for a total of 9.9 billion, or an average price of about $39,266 each. Current price at around 72,000, companies in about $18 billion. Well, that's what it's worth, about 18 billion, about $9 billion worth profit. As of the end of the quarter, the company had $891 million of dry powder. That's pretty interesting. I believe Michael Saylor thinks the price can be a lot higher. I wonder why they did not deploy that capital there. Maybe they just need nearly $1 billion of dry powder for company running costs. MicroStrategy, they also revised higher the target range of its Bitcoin yield to 6 to 10% from the previous 4 to 8% created by the Saylor and his team. The Bitcoin yield is considered by MicroStrategy to be a key performance indicator, describing how well the company does in acquiring Bitcoin in an accretive manner to shareholders. Bitcoin yield for Q3 was 17.8%. Shares, they are lower by 10% in after hours trade, but remain up roughly 250% higher year to date. On this news, I'm actually quite surprised, 72,240. I thought Bitcoin would have been way, way higher. I thought maybe, potentially, we could have got a new all-time high off this news. The good news is we haven't. We've got a nice big red buy button today. So we can still stack, thankfully. Under 100K, it's grand and glorious. Anyway, let's carry on. Max Kaiser, 100K is a magnet, 200K will fall very quickly. Bitcoin, it is going up forever. Laura, it provides a little bit more clarity. There's no supply over 74,000. We'll see a gap to 100K, then a swift trip to 200K. Truly, it's just a matter of time. Slowly, then suddenly, is it going to happen overnight? Probably not. We have the possibility, 10, 20, 30. If we get a $30,000 daily candle to the upside, yes, we have 100K in place straight away. However, I don't think we're in that FOMO of the market yet, which is good news. It is still under 100K. I agree with Max. Maybe not in the time frame Max is thinking, but eventually we are going to wake up. It'll be 100K, be 200K. One day we're going to wake up and it'll be $1 million. Yes, that may take another 5, 10 years. I'm all here for it for this exact reason. Lawrence Lepard, what a guy. Oh, and it's not just the long end. So obviously they're trying to keep it together through the election. US Treasury, we anticipate buying up to $22.5 billion in 1 month to 2 year securities for cash management purposes. These people would be better to buy it in Bitcoin and then peel a little bit off. It's absolutely crazy. Now, yesterday, US ETFs, they bought 11,826 Bitcoin, 868 million, the second largest inflows since March. Bitcoin ETFs were the quickest ETFs in human history to get to $20 billion assets under management. It's like 286 days roughly, whereas gold took like over 1,000, nearly 1,300 days. It's insane. BlackRock, 8,805. They will sell it back. They'll put it back on the market, but just at much higher prices. They are really starting to get it. Now, Rajat ETFs, they bought 870 million of Bitcoin yesterday, and yet most people are still claiming Bitcoin is a scam or ignoring it. They're sitting on the sidelines waiting for the price to drop to 20K. By the time they realize the rocket left without them, it will be too late. It's sad, unfortunately. You know, even our parents, our friends, our family, they do get Bitcoin at the price they deserve, which sucks. We've been screaming. But the higher the number goes up, the more they seem to be interested. And in that, you know, Bitcoin last night was around where it is now, maybe a little bit higher. And I was talking to two older people. I'm like, you just need to go. Like, you've been screwing around for the last 4 years. It's go time. They're like, should I wait? No. Like, you've been waiting for the last 4 years. It's go time. So they've deployed quite a bit of capital. I appreciate the number go up for that, though it is sad. And I reckon it'll dump the second they buy it. Maybe they just bought this morning. That's why we've come back down. Oh, we're in neutral territory. Check that out. Grey. Exactly 0% over the last 24 hours at 72,295. Let's carry on before we get into a banter. Florida Chief Financial Officer urges the State Board of Administration to add Bitcoin to the Florida Growth Fund. We've got a little bit more to dive into with that. But your government, they steal your money and they still manage to end up bankrupt. Put a stop to the theft. Bitcoin in self-custody keeps your wealth far from their reach. Reduce your counterparty risk to zero. It's never been more important to master your Bitcoin self-custody and cybersecurity. Tony and the team. Tony's one of my favorite people, if not one of my favorite person in the world. Absolutely amazing. Used to work for Steve Jobs. Knows a thing or two about cybersecurity. Truly is the best within Bitcoin. You can reach out. We are green now. We are up a little bit. That's the signal there. These guys are so good at educating to be able to lead you down the path to become a fully self-sovereign individual, to make sure that your Bitcoin becomes unconfiscatable. This is FU money. This allows you to become ungovernable when you do everything the right way. The first 30 minutes is free. You can reach out to Tony and the team through the Bitcoin Wave. Put a link at the top of the description for everyone. Check out the podcast that I have pinned under videos. Tony is an absolutely amazing man. The whole team, they know what they're on about. And the last thing here, they've seen Bitcoin Prague, Forbes, Natalie Brunell's channel, Bitcoin News, Simply Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Standard. And we do have both Natalie Brunell and Saifdina Moose also endorse the Bitcoin way. They're truly the best. Reach out, make sure you're doing everything right. And let's carry on. Talking about voting, we're going to talk about voting in regards to a different matter where the game is totally rigged. Some crazy stuff happening with the Formula One, I believe. But early voting for Microsoft investment in Bitcoin assessment proposal has begun. I wish we could see what the numbers were as time ticks over. Microsoft coming into Bitcoin, it is absolutely massive. It's a huge catalyst. And we did get reminded from somebody watching yesterday who greatly appreciated that Bill Gates, this evil billionaire that's trying to take over the world, yes, tinfoil hat, and that's my bias with him. He only owns less than 1% of Microsoft now, so it's not going to go into his hands, which is good. But I'm sure, in saying that, they own a lot. All the billionaires. Jamie Dimon, he also owns a lot. Elizabeth Warren, I would be shocked if she did not own Bitcoin. Anyway, let's bring this up. Give a little bit of context here. First, Bitcoin, it's poised to hit 80K this year. We played this the other day. I think it's a good reminder. These people are a little bit bearish. Most people are thinking they're a little bit bearish. Only 80K. But it's absolutely massive. We get so spoiled within Bitcoin. The lower for longer, definitely better. Anyway, hand it back over to you, sir.
We've got a crypto rally today as Bitcoin is just short of its all-time highs. Mackenzie Segala is joining us now with a look at kind of what's driving the trade. Is it really something that can be characterized as a so-called Trump trade?
Bitcoin is trading at its highest point since March. It's up more than 5% in the last 24 hours, with Bitcoin's trading volume topping $31 billion and more than $224 million in short positions liquidated over that same window. Now, meanwhile, stocks tied to digital asset prices like Riot Platforms, Coinbase, and MicroStrategy are all rallying this morning, along with the wider crypto market, as Bitcoin breaks past that key 70K resistance level. Now, spot Bitcoin ETFs have also seen a surge of inflows, adding over $3.1 billion in just the last 2 weeks, bringing the total market cap of those funds to nearly $73 billion since they launched in January. I've been speaking with analysts, and they say that with 1 week to go until the general election here in the U.S., investors are increasingly bullish that no matter who wins, it will be a net benefit for the industry. And already, guys, we are seeing options traders increase bets that regardless of who takes the White House, Bitcoin is poised to hit that 80K mark this year.
We've got a
The point of playing that is truly Bitcoin is literally going up for the rest of our lives for this one simple fact. They're going to print money for the rest of our lives. Yes, we are going to have periods where it comes down, you know, you buy it high and then it drops for a couple of years. Like, that's just the nature of the game that we're playing, because the game is rigged, and we're going to dive into what Mark Moss has to say about the rigged game. But all we need to do is just realize Bitcoin is savings. It's not about trying to time the lows, trying to time the tops. So this is the way that I approach it. You know, just DCA every week into it. Bitcoin is savings, and it's truly saved me in so many ways. And a lot of people, I'm sure, have experienced the same. Just ask if you're new to the channel, if you're first time watching, or you've watched for a while and you haven't hit subscribe, hit subscribe. Woke up this morning with Preston Pish in my XDM, so he will be coming on the show. Like, wake up this like absolutely crazy. Really, really cool guy. Mark Moss organising to get him on. We've got Fred Kruger next week, British Huddle, I believe, the week after. We'll have Max DeMarco on early December. Really cool lineup of guests coming. You will get the news with the fast facts. So if you can do us a favour, and if you haven't already, we'll get into the comments. But if you smash the like button, it truly helps get the signal out there. Now, Florida Chief Financial Officer advocates for a strategic Bitcoin reserve, says Bitcoin is digital gold. I just want to bring up this one part where they said it. Bitcoin is often called digital gold, and it could help diversify the state's portfolio and provide a secure hedge against the volatility of other major asset classes. The state board, like bonds, I'm pretty sure that's what they're referring to. The state board of administration maintains a Florida growth fund that allows for more innovative and emerging investments, and a digital currency investment pilot program could be a perfect fit, offering potential benefits we cannot afford to overlook. Nobody can afford, in my opinion, to overlook Bitcoin. You know, that meme, you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve, have fun staying poor. It's so harsh, but unfortunately, it's so true. The financial world is crumbling around us. It's going to continue to happen. The dollar's going to be worth less and less. Hard assets are going to go up more and more forever. Like gold's at $2,800 today. Maybe it's had a little bit of pullback. Maybe it's going to keep running. All hard assets are going up. But inspired by Trump, Florida official, they eye the state Bitcoin stockpile for retirees. Citing presidential candidate Donald Trump's remarks on the U.S. strategic crypto reserve, Florida Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis is pushing the idea for state pension funds. Pretty based, really based. I believe this forethought and innovative thinking from a successful businessman like Trump must not be taken for granted. Jimmy said in a letter to the executive director of Florida State Board of Administration, advocating for a state to join others that have already made such investments. Bitcoin is often called digital gold, and it could help diversify the state's portfolio and provide a secure hedge against the volatility of other major market asset classes. He suggests the organization that manages state pensions serve Florida's retired firefighters, teachers, and other public workers should study how crypto investing might fit into one of its funds and offer potential benefits we cannot afford to overlook. There's one more thing here. There's no telling what the future of cryptocurrency will be, but it's important the state of Florida stays ahead of the curve when considering new investments and providing the best returns for Floridans. That's the right attitude. No idea what the future will be. The history, it's only 16 years old. Like today, 16 years ago, the white paper came out and changed the world. So many things that just Bitcoiners on X or Bitcoiners in general have memed into existence. Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset, legal tender in El Salvador. Kingdom of Bhutan mining it. They had this strategic reserve stockpile nobody knew about. Russia coming into it, BRICS coming into Bitcoin. It's absolutely insane. Bitcoin is really just changing the whole world. And I think on a Bitcoin stand, the world gets better. Definitely for ourselves, it does. I just love the Bitcoin therapist. Holy yes, BlackRock bought 8,820 Bitcoin today. Always love it. Now, talking about Bhutan, we just brought them up. They have moved 1,000 Bitcoin into a Binance deposit address. It holds about 900 million of assets in total. Government of Bhutan deposited almost 1,000 Bitcoin deposit address in crypto exchange Binance on Tuesday. They hold over 900 million worth of Bitcoin. They moved a chunk of its holding to exchange on Tuesday, according to Arkham Intelligence, sparking speculation it's on the verge of selling some of its stash in a move that may weigh on market prices. So they moved 65 million worth of Bitcoin to Binance late Tuesday. It doesn't look like they've sold it yet, but if it's on an exchange, it looks like they're getting ready to sell it. Doesn't matter. Maybe they're waiting for 100K. We come back to 95 or 90 and then we pump to 110, 120. Really doesn't matter. It's their Bitcoin. It's their choice. If they want to sell it, they can. At least it's not the whole thing like Germany, because Germany looks like they're going to have funds staying poor forever. But the country's Bitcoin holdings, sorry to interject with my personal biased opinions, the country's Bitcoin holdings represent nearly a third of its GDP and were gained through mining operations run by state-owned drug holdings. Undercover, profit taking. So their movements are part of a broader trend of profit taking among whales as the cryptocurrency price approaches the record high set in March. And I'm the biggest advocate. It's not about time in the markets, it's about spending time in the market. Because as of Tuesday, 99.7% of the circulating supply was in profit. That's a remarkable number, 99.7% of the circulating supply. That's mind-blowing. With 1.5 billion of realized profit taken, most of that has come from larger entities holding at least 100 Bitcoin, according to Glassnode. We're running a little bit behind. Let's get through the last 10 minutes here. I'm only going to play half this video. CNBC reports on the soaring national deficit's role in the election, noting that neither politician nor the public seem to care. Only when the bond market signals unsustainable debt will people take notice, potentially triggering a 2008-style event. I've got something to bring up at the end. 10 Principles by Jim Rohn, I think, will help people and their mindset really stack Bitcoin. Jim Rohn's helped me out a lot in my life. Anyway, we'll get into that shortly. About a minute.
So what Eamon just told you is what could happen to the deficit depending on who wins. Here's what's going to happen, even if nothing changes under existing law. The deficit's going to rise as a percent of GDP. Interest costs will soar to continue to be a bigger part of the budget. They already eclipse defense and Medicare spending. One more thing. No one really seems to care, not the politicians and not the broader public. So the economic risks are that surging interest payments force spending reductions in other areas of government, that all the borrowing crowds out private sector investment needed to boost growth and productivity. And finally, the market at some point says no mas. The ever-increasing supply of government debt and auctions fail, or the buyers of debt demand far higher interest rates. Maya McGinnis from the previously mentioned Committee for Responsible Federal Budget says, there is an invisible fence. We don't know when we run out of fiscal space until we do. We might be about to find out. The CBO projects the deficit will climb over the next 10 years by $1 trillion. That's before any of the stuff these other guys add, to nearly $2.8 trillion, or 122% of GDP, debt owned by the public, and interest payments.
Truly is a debt spiral. Western economies around the world are failing with their fiat. They're failing the people. Definitely makes sense to get Bitcoin. It is a hedge against that. And this just made me a little bit sad. 58K was 15K ago. Was $14,385. But let's just take a moment of silence. Let that sink in. There's only 21 million. Thank you. Now, never bet against Bitcoin. And again, this is why we need to have a long-term perspective. I'm a huge advocate of doing everything you can, whether it's a daily, a weekly, a monthly, or a fortnightly buy, to DCA into Bitcoin for 4 years solid, to be able to ride out the highs, the lows, and then when we hit a new all-time high, which roughly happens every 4 years, you're in massive amounts of profit. If you're looking on the short term, like Bitcoin here at this price was $25,000. Robin Brooks. So it turns out that Bitcoin is just another bubble asset that blows up when the Fed gets serious about hiking interest rates, zero store of value function, zero diversification benefit, zero yield. Sayonara. Bitcoin. This guy unfortunately failed to read the books. It's pretty bloody sad. This was March 15, 2023. We're at $72,362. Crazy. Hopefully nobody listened to him. Never a good time to bet against Bitcoin. Let's hit refresh. We're pretty much at the same price. Look at that, 369. Tesla's number of the universe. When you understand the numbers of 369, you understand the language of the universe. It's paraphrasing, but 72,369, 43 cents. Pretty much exactly sideways, up 0.1% the last 24 hours. Let's just zoom out a bit. Yes, like the 24-hour chart's looking nice. I'd like this to go down a little bit, but I'm biased. I'm biased to the downside. I know Bitcoin's going up forever. Just over the last week, up and to the right, over the last month, over the last 3 months. And if we have a look at the last year, we're pretty much about to smash all-time highs. Doesn't that look so healthy though? Sideways, we went up, we've gone sideways, and we're going to go up to the moon. It's just a matter of time. Let's look at the last 24 hours. 72,953, hanging just under the $73,000 level, a low of 71,430. Would have been nice. Nice buy. Anything under the old all-time high now, I think it's an amazing opportunity to be able to buy. Anything under 100K was still bloody gravy, baby. But Peter Schiff, despite the best year for gold since 1979, retail investors are staying away from both gold and gold mine equities, opting to buy Bitcoin ETFs and MicroStrategy. This has a minimal impact on gold, but I think it's one of the main reasons gold mine stocks are still so cheap. Peter's letting the rest of the world know that people are focusing more on Bitcoin and MicroStrategy than they are gold. Bitcoin is more scarce, it's cheaper, it's faster to use. You don't have the counterparty risk, and you know that if you're running your own node, it's there. Now, Mark Moss, I was so lucky enough, and I put out a little video with Mark Moss. We've got more to come, to sit down with him at Cheat Code, but he gave an amazing presentation talking about how the game is rigged against you, and he's gone into a bit more of a thread with that line of reasoning. I'm just going to read the first one and then going to repost it for everyone. Please read it. Absolutely imperative, I believe, to understand. But Mark, the game is rigged. It's designed to keep you trapped. Taxes, they don't fund the government, they keep you from saving. Inflation, that's there to steal the value of whatever you do save. And Wall Street, it's the cage, trapping your wealth, extracting it slowly over decades. They don't want you to leave the game. But what if you could break free? I'm going to quote that and say, please read this. Go through the thread. Let's get rid of my spelling mistakes. Cool. Really recommend reading that. But just talking about the rigged game, this is pretty interesting. Marty Bent, TFTC, crypto. ABC preemptively aired a test election result showing Harris winning Pennsylvania by 5% during a Formula One broadcast. Harris 52%, Trump 47%. It's very interesting. To me, conspiracy hat on it, talking about a rigged game. They're trying to pre-program people. People see these numbers, subconsciously it goes in. They see Harris is the more likely candidate, so it makes them more likely to want to vote or not show up and vote if Trump's already losing. That's if I was to put a tinfoil hat on, maybe as an honest mistake. Reporting 100%. Isn't it interesting? 100%, like maybe 100% accurate. It's very, very disturbing what's going on. And then talking about the game being rigged against us, this is Australia's Prime Minister, amazing guy, great guy. We're working on inflation. Well done, man. Like, fantastic, Anthony. What a guy. Challenge from every possible angle. And our efforts are making a difference. Yeah, like, why don't you start with sorting out the pay of the people at the RBA, the highest paid central bankers in the world? They gave themselves a $100,000 pay rise, sitting at over $1 million income per year. But today's, and I want to talk about that. Actually, we'll come back to Anthony Albanese in a sec. The guy boils my blood. Anyway, the people at the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, Australia's central bank, if they're paying themselves $1 million or $1 million plus per year, they realize how worthless the money is. These are the people that are the closest to the money printer here in this country, and they realize that they need to earn $1 million in income. Obviously, they've got tax, they'll lose about half of that to tax. But they need about $500,000 per year to be able to keep their same cost of living. It's absolutely insane. Obviously, these guys want to get ahead as well. I thought that was pretty interesting, though. If the bankers are paying themselves $1 million, they know like this, they're just looting the treasury now. This is the moment that Ayn Rand alluded to in Atlas Shrugged. Anyway, but back to the man Anthony Albanese. What a guy. Today's inflation data reveals a 2.8% annual rate. It's the lowest figure since 2021, and it's less than half of what we inherited when we came to government. We know inflation has put Australians under a lot of pressure, and we'll keep working on ways to deliver more cost of living relief while keeping inflation in check. If you're in Australia, I can see a couple of people tuning in from Melbourne, different parts of Australia. Please just let us know in Australia or anywhere in the world, just let us know where in the world you are, how inflation is. Does it feel like it's come down, or everything's just getting more and more and more expensive? Doing the same things, you're putting out twice the amount of output just to be able to stay still. It's insane. Absolutely insane. These people continue to gaslight us. Bitcoin traders, they take a breather as Bitcoin price metrics hint new highs are incoming. That's all I want to read about that. New highs are incoming. It's just a matter of time. And again, it's not about time in the market. It's about spending time in the market and protecting Bitcoin at all costs. If you've got a bit of wealth in Bitcoin, think of about 10x higher, even 20x higher. If you look at that and you're like, my Bitcoin's not safe, get into a multi-sig. Self-custody setup, make sure it's air gapped. You run your own node, verify it's there, protect it at all costs, because Bitcoin is literally going much, much higher, and new highs are incoming. As I said, all week and for a while. This week with the election, it's going to be bloody volatile. Let me just bring this up. Yeah, just check it before I do. So I want to get into a banter very shortly if you're hanging around. But Jim Rohn's really helped me out in my life. I remember like being 16, I would have been 17, $300 Ford Fiesta, cruising around. Guy gave me these cassettes, and there's like 8 cassettes in this big like plastic fold out thing. It's Jim Rohn. Absolutely amazing. I've been listening to this guy for many, many years. But his top 10 rules to create habits to break the poverty mindset by Jim Rohn. Number 1, keep strict accounts of your money and spending. Know where your money goes. I bring this up because following this is a sure way over time to stack an insane amount of Bitcoin. If you like Jim Rohn, or if you've never heard him before, let us know in the chat. This guy, really amazing. He's helped me out in so many ways, and I've never met him in real life. That's the power of books, of audio, of podcasts, just of YouTube. Every night I listen to Jim Rohn. Anyway, number 2, develop a positive attitude towards paying bills and taxes as obligations to maintain society. 3, give back to charity and community. Donate 10% of your income. Replace that with whatever, but definitely pay it forward. Number 4, save and invest 10% of income for future and capital projects. Number 5, I think this is very important. Like, do these ones in order, is my opinion. Engage in enterprise, commerce, and capitalism. Use your skills to provide value. Or if you're at 9 to 5, choose a 9 to 5 that's going to allow you to upskill so that you can go into enterprise, commerce, and capitalism at a later date. Working for the man, it's never going to allow you to be the man unless you get lucky, you get some stock options, or you go hardcore into Bitcoin, in my opinion. Number 6, associate with positive, successful people to expand your thinking and skills. Limit negative influences. Continuously educate yourself by reading books, listening to educational content, having intellectual discussions. This is what everyone's doing here. Like, well done. You're on the path. We're all on the path. Number 8, set clear goals for your life and finances, health, family, education, lifestyle. Review and expand goals regularly. Number 9, find a mentor who can provide guidance, ask tough questions, and measure your progress. Number 10, become the skilled, cultured, intelligent person that successful people want to associate with. That's the news with the fast facts. We are going to dive into a bit of a banter. If you're hanging around, g'day. If you're shooting off and you haven't already, smash the subscribe button, smash the like. It helps me out a lot. News with the fast facts. Preston Pish, Mark Moss, Lawrence Lepard, Fred Kruger, British Hoddle, Max DeMarco. These people are all lined up, and I'm talking. I'll be back on Robin Sayers' podcast shortly as well. Really good things happening. We'll get you the signal 5 days a week. But shout out to everyone watching that is tuned in this morning. What a day. Michael Saylor, hey, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And I guess that's the point of these 10 rules with by Jim Rohn, engaging enterprise commerce and capitalism. The possibilities it opens up, absolutely insane. Michael Saylor has really unleashed the cheat code there. Jurgen, good morning. Good to see you. Snowboarding buddy. He's tuned in from Austria. Simon Picala, good to see you this morning. I don't always watch live, but always go back and listen and watch. I always love seeing you. Simon, last time you watched live, it sounded like everyone was doing very well at home, which is pleased to hear. Hopefully it's moving more and more towards recovery and total healing. SF Huddle. Oh, if anyone, this total side note, if anyone in Australia understands when I say, like, it is either lived experience or is a peer worker within Australia, is working the lived experience or peer worker workforce, may you reach out to me on X. And if you're looking for a little bit of a career path, if that doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry, it's not for you. Hello, my first live G'day Bitcoin SF Huddle. It's so good to see you this morning. That's crazy. This is your first one? You're always in the comments, like every video. It's cool to see you here this morning. Wisconsin, USA. McLovin in the house. G'day, legends. Don't forget to wallop the like button. People are bloody getting excited this morning. Emil, good to see you, brother. Now, Emil's an interesting cat. Simon McLovin, you know I did. Knoxville in the house, Earthbum, McLovin. Habib, it's good to see you. Oliver Dixon, when Lambo. You know, I'm not into a car person, but there's Des B, the author, and I. The author of Beers for Bitcoin, or the co-author of Beers for Bitcoin. When we were in Sydney, we were staying at the same hotel, and we were waiting for an Uber, and this Aston Martin V8 just comes. There's a young lady driving it. Oh my God, the car, that was sexy. That was a really nice car. I'm not into them, but I saw that, and that's just a piece of art. But yeah, when Lambo, I don't know, if you're here 4 years ago, it's Lambo time now. It's just a matter of time. If that's what floats your boat, it's a 4-year process from when you start, in my opinion. What color spaceship? Probably silver. I think so. Smash the like. Castro F. Synap. Good night from Sweden. How cool. Imagine a normie seeing a Bitcoin podcast for the first time ever because we all hit the like button. Well, yeah, it's crazy. If you are new to Bitcoin, like, welcome, g'day. It's insane. Like, it's the craziest ride of your life. And truly, I just urge you to be here for 4 years and buy if you can buy every single day or every single week, but just on a consistent basis. And then realize that your Bitcoin should not be on the exchange. It needs to be in self-custody. Like, if you can get that in mindset straight away, maybe it takes a little while. I reckon most people get to that mindset after spending 100 hours consuming information, reading the books. That's a bloody great place to start. There will be people within Bitcoin, and we can get very noisy and stuff. And, you know, mainstream media calls us psychopaths. But we do it because we care. We may not always be nice. We may not always get it right. It doesn't help us if you go out there and buy. It doesn't, like, increase our bags. It's the Michael Saylors of the world that help increase our bags. So buying it doesn't, like, you buying it doesn't help me, but it really helps you. And the more people that are better off financially, the better the world is. So welcome. Enjoy the ride. You're in for a bloody good time if you stay here for a long time. It's insane. Good night from Sweden, McLovin. Just imagine, though. Richie Guitars. Hey, Sean. Great to catch you live from over here in Scotland. Wow, there's some incredible places you're tuning in from. Matt, g'day from Melbourne. Mate, I saw some videos, some crazy lines in the sky. Was that 2 days ago? Tuesday? Melbourne, last time I was there, they were doing some crazy weather manipulation. Clearly, it's not a conspiracy anymore. Well, it's a conspiracy. It's just not a conspiracy theory. Phil, I think most old guard money actually doesn't own Bitcoin. Recency bias is strong in the boomers. Yes, but they will get it. I think they're starting to. These people respect Larry Fink. They respect BlackRock. They respect Wall Street. Wall Street is pushing it more and more. But yeah, unfortunately, Not all of them are going to get it. Hopefully the pension funds start adding it more and more so they have it by default. But we'll see. You can give people information, you can show them what's going on, but yeah, it's hard. Something new. I think the older we get, depending on the way that we approach the world, it can be harder to grok or grasp new things. Bitcoin, it takes a little while to understand. People also need to have the time and the willingness to be able to do it. This is interesting, Phil. Trump will order the governments to secretly buy 1 million Bitcoin minimum as a strategic reserve, 1 million because MicroStrategy already has 252,000. What do you reckon MicroStrategy, side note, we'll come back to that, Phil, but what do you reckon MicroStrategy is going for? Like 420,000 Bitcoin? That's my goal. I reckon Michael Saylor just wants to troll us and just have a laugh. Same sort of attitude as Elon Musk. These crazy billionaires and doing some amazing things. You know, I don't agree with everything, especially, you know, Michael Saylor saying that we don't need to hold Bitcoin in self-custody. We're just paranoid crypto anarchists. Yeah, maybe. Not willing to risk it. But they're just taken the piss in a fun way. And it benefits us, it benefits the world. But yeah, Trump, he always wants to one-up everyone. His ego, the audacity on him is absolutely huge. It could be a good thing. Then China and Russia jump in and it's moon time within 12 months. Yeah, 100%. And, you know, they're already sending that signal, Russia and China. How many billions does Saylor have now in Bitcoin? MicroStrategy is about 18 billion. Michael Saylor, I believe he was saying last week potentially that the last time he announced his Bitcoin holdings, he had like 16,000 or 13,000 Bitcoin, so whatever that works out to be, and he's added since then. So I'd say a lot. I'd say personally he holds a lot. Sale dog in the house. Congrats to all the holders. Well done for anyone that's been here for any amount of time that's continuing to add to their stack. Saylor now has 16.75 billion in Bitcoin with 9 billion total cost. MicroStrategy rather. Kamala, we won't dive into it too much. Chipman Jim Rohn rocks, all about philosophy. The guy's absolutely amazing. I truly urge, you know, if you want to change your life in any way, Jim Rohn's Principles of Success. I wrote down some other ones in this book I was reading last night. A little bit interesting. The 10 qualities, or maybe you might find it interesting. To me, it's absolutely fascinating. I hadn't come across this for a couple of years. And I just remind them like, oh, I remember last time I wrote that down. But anyway, the 10 qualities of personal power. Number 1, the habit of definite of purpose. 2, promptness of decision. 3, soundness of character, intentional honesty. I think that's absolutely imperative, intentional honesty. Number 4, strict discipline over one's emotions. Number 5, obsessional desire to render useful services. 6, thorough knowledge of one's occupation. 7, tolerance on all subjects. I need to work on that one a little bit. 8, loyalty to one's personal associates and faith in a supreme being. Number 9, enduring thirst for knowledge. And number 10, alertness of imagination. 10 qualities for personal power. Earlier, we brought up the top 10 rules to create habits to break the poverty mindset by Jim Rohn. I'll repost this. I created that this morning over on X after the live show. Tomorrow, the monthly candle closes. Happy Halloween if you celebrate. I think it's in respect to the devil. I believe that's where it comes from. Halloween. So it's not for me, but I do like it. Like the community gets out there, everyone has a little bit of fun. You know, kids dress up. I've seen some pretty cool costumes. They get some candy and stuff, which I don't know, not for little kids, but it's all a little bit of fun. And then which is interesting. Like, there's no coincidence in the world, is there? So, Halloween, hell. And then the Satoshi white paper is released on Halloween. It's like, you know, it's weird to say, but the study of Bitcoin is the study of spirituality, our connection to whatever it is that's greater than ourselves. This is the way that I see it. And I believe there is this fight between good and evil. And then for Bitcoin to sort of come into existence, to be able to counteract the work of the devil on this day, Halloween, it's interesting. I don't know. Something in there or not, maybe I need to think it through a little bit, but there are no coincidences. Save and invest more than 10%. I 100% agree, but if people are just starting to break free of that poverty mindset, it's a bloody good place to be able to start. If you can get up there now, 30, 40, 50, 60%, 70%, it's a more of an ideal place to be, but you've got to start somewhere. And people that are living just week to week, hand to mouth, 10% provide more value, 10% continued upskill. I think that's pretty important. Well, they all have the same letters first name, last name. I have no idea, Randall, what you were talking about there. Preston Pish, Mark Moss, Lawrence Lepard. That's bloody interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. Valenti, I don't think I'm going to. Yeah, I'm not going to name and shame Valenti. Interesting comment. Yeah, if you're in the comment section, if you're watching live or watching the replay, let us know what your thoughts are on Valenti's comment. But I'm not going to bring it up. Very interesting frame of mind. That's strange. You don't mean BTC, do you? Because that makes sense. Like, that sounds reasonable thinking there, Valenti. Maybe you got it wrong. Because that to me definitely does not look like sound thinking, but maybe I'm wrong there. Hazla, good to see you, mate. First live stream here too. Came to say good day. Hazla is a bloody legend, mate. It was so cool to be able to talk with you the other day. Taman, capital gains tax before Lambo. I'm live from LA. LA's a real cool place. UK here, everything has gone up 100% in the last few years. Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? And it looks like there's no end in sight for it. Maybe when they slow inflation down, doesn't mean prices are coming down. It just means it's going up at a lower rate. It's sad, hey. Ireland here, loving the banter. John Power, bloody legend. Dave, I think you get it. Laughing out loud. Archie still have some, man. Okay, please stop bringing up shitcoins in the chat. The reason being, it's your money, it's your choice. Go out and invest it in whatever. But within this Bitcoin live stream, my personal bias is everything else is a mind virus. And, people say, oh, the tech or whatever. Like, what's going on with Cardano at the moment? Charles Hoskins been saying Cardano is going to flip Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. It's better than Bitcoin. Yeah, switching to a layer 2 on top of Bitcoins to bring shitcoins towards Bitcoin, like, piss off. Just really not interested. This is about the separation of money from state. This is about protecting your purchasing power, not about gambling, but just literally about saving ourselves, saving. That's what Bitcoin is to me. It's not investment. It's not get rich quick. It's about saving my time and energy that I go out when I provide value to the world. They pay me this dirty fiat that steals my time off me, put into a hard asset. It saves myself. It saves my family. And then people are caught up in their degenerate gambles. I do have an issue with it. It's your money. It's your choice. Go out and do whatever, but put it in the chat. Please, if you can refrain, it'd be greatly appreciated. That's how powerful it is. The mind virus, it gets in there, and it's a bloody distraction of all of life. Isn't fake Toshi appealing again? Probably. The guy's an absolute clown. Anyway, that's the news with the fast facts. Hopefully you have a grand and glorious day. Please go out, do something nice for yourself, for somebody else out there. Just buy, stack, and chill. The number's going to go up. I'd love a nice big pullback, even 68,000, 69,000 be great. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. But with the elections coming up days away, I think it's going to get crazy. It's going to get volatile. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it's a fair fight. We'll see if some nonsense happens. But either way, Bitcoin price, short time afterwards, we're all going to forget about it. Thank Satoshi for that. It's been insane. It's such a distraction. Neither politician's going to save it. Under Trump, financially, it's probably going to be better. That's my biased opinion. They're both going to print money. They're both going to, debase people's purchasing power. So maybe it makes sense, regardless of who gets in. Bitcoin's going on the moon. It's just a matter of time. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Shakeout to 60K would be lovely. Yeah, Hazard absolutely gets it. Again, Do something nice for yourself, for somebody else out there. If you haven't already, smash the like button, hit subscribe for your vibe. We'll see you tomorrow. And then on Tuesday next week, we do have Fred Krug, which will be a fun, interesting episode as always. Be blessed. Peace.
Everything seemed normal. Successful businesses were functioning as they usually should. Money was being placed in the bank as savings. Life was good. Nobody notices anything funny. But 2008 hits and all hell breaks loose. Everything we thought about money and the banking was a complete lie, a complete sham, a Ponzi, a scam. The whole world fell apart and a lot of people got hurt financially. And as a result of this, the Bitcoin white paper was born. But yet the same mistakes keep happening over and over again. People are leaving money on their institutions up until the last straw, FTX, when billions of dollars were lost, families were decimated, life savings were completely wiped, and people were wondering what on earth just happened. We have an option to take full custody of our funds, and that's Bitcoin. We just have to learn the process. It's not hard. It's just something we've never had to do before. Otherwise, the same mistakes are going to keep repeating themselves, and people are going to continue to get hurt over and over and over until they learn you need to exit the system in order to protect yourselves and your loved ones.